The International Great Black Read Aloud Day is delighted to welcome special guest author Lizzie Franklin. Ms. Franklin will read from the first book in her When We Face the Music series, titled Before We're More Than Friends. Here at the International Great Black Read Aloud Day, or TIGBRAD as we call it, we are giving voice to words written by Black people around the world. Thank you for joining us. Let's tune in. Welcome to the International Great Black Read Aloud Day. It is day 25. It is Young Adult and Teen Genre Day, and we are excited to have a special guest with us today. We have Young Adult YA is what they call it in the industry. We've got YA author Lizzie Franklin in the studio with us today, and we want to remind you before we go into our interview with Ms. Franklin, we want to remind you that here at the International Great Black Read Aloud Day, we are giving voice to words written by Black people around the world. And so we are on a mission to encourage the exploration, purchase, and reading of books written by Black people. So we want to say welcome, Lizzie. How are you today?
Hi, I'm very good. Thank you.
Well, we thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to give us an interview here at the International Great Black Read Aloud Day, or as we call it, TIGBRAD. It's our
Mhm.
2026 edition, and so we're excited about having a young, vibrant author here, prolific author here, on with us for today. We had another young author yesterday, and so we are batting 1,000 this week for special interviews with young authors. So we're going to get right into our interview. You released your first book last year. What inspired Before We're More Than Friends?
So basically, it was back in September in 2019. Back then, I would like watch all like there was this like thing called BookTube. I don't watch it
Mm-hmm.
as much as I used to, like no near as much. But back then, I would just watch a bunch of BookTube content because I was very obsessed with like young adult BookTube back in 2018 and back in 2010s. Young adult was like very popular, but at this time, like it was kind of like fading, and I was like introduced to a lot of like new adult and adult books. However, like I didn't read it because personally I'm just like obviously I was, I believe, 14 at the time, and I don't think my parents would approve of me reading adult content. However, I still like watched a lot of like book reviews of like books of all kind, and I would often watch these book reviews and think it would be really cool if like there's like a young adult version of this, like a no spice version of this. That's what like we call sexual content spice in the book community. And so
Mm-hmm.
there's basically like one book where I'd be like, I would be like really good if there was like a nice, fun, like young adult version. I actually back then I used to write middle grade, and so I'm like, this would be really cool to have a middle grade version of it. And so
Mm-hmm.
I came up with Dallas and Raina's story. I'd be like, okay, like I came up with Dallas and Raina like months in advance. I'm unsure exactly like what I was gonna do with them because I came up with a story for them and something. I want lab partners, and they both have dogs, and like his dog's name is Houston, her dog's name is Penrose.
Mm-hmm.
However, I didn't like that was it. That was just the plot. Like Dallas is a new boy, like Raina is like this like popular girl. That was literally all I had. And so when I actually gave them the plot back in September, end of September 2019, with the whole pen pal things and Dallas showing up in school, Raina not knowing that he's her pen pal, them like going by different names, in their pen pal letters, like it was pretty much like striking gold. And I don't think a new idea has ever felt so special at that moment. And so basically that's how I came up with it, watching BookTube, hearing some like good plots, and being like, this would be a good like middle grade idea. And eventually I did move to YA because I'm like, they kind of need to be in high school, not in middle school. So
Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Are you a
about
student? Are you What are you doing in addition to writing?
Okay, so about myself is that yes, I am a student. I am a junior in college. I absolutely hate college. Literally, like,
Oh, you're almost done. Hang in there.
yeah, literally,
You're
college is
almost
like the most miserable thing, and I'm not as productive as I was before college started.
done.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
However, I guess some more positive things about me is that I really love, like, obviously, like, I love reading. I'm in a bit of a slump. I haven't read a single book this year, but I love reading young adult books. And I've started
Mhm,
reading some like closed door adult books, like adult books that don't have spice in it. Uh, but I mostly read young adult contemporary. I love traveling, even though I don't travel that much. Maybe like every few months. I love Disney. I'm obsessed with Disney. Like literally, my profile picture for my offer bio is Disney, like me in front of Cinderella's castle for the 50th anniversary. Yeah, so we go like a few times a year. I don't haven't watched many Disney movies lately, but yeah, I just love Disney. I love Disney like Channel, like Nickelodeon. Like my books really give those like 2010s vibes. A lot of people
Well, you're
on
not
the before
alone.
me, but
There are a lot of adults who love Disney. You're driving
yes,
along the highway, we see you can see many signs. Being in Florida, we know that Disney is a major destination for a lot of for people
yeah,
around the world, and it always, sometimes I think about it, it's like people from all around the world come here to go to our theme parks, and so it's
yes,
a wonderful thing. So since the release of Before We're More Than Friends, which is part of the music collection, you've delivered the YA genre three more books as part of this series. Your first book came out last spring. You have delivered three more books since then. When writing a series, what do you think are the top three things to keep in mind? Because you're putting them out there like this.
yes. And so when writing a series, I think like one, like you have to like make sure that you have all the information together. So I have Notion, and well, I used to like use like start off with a notebook. Like I have notes everywhere, but make sure things are consistent. And I definitely like this. I started the series not knowing it was going to be a series before More to Friends was a standalone, and so I didn't make it a series until almost a year after I wrote it. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and then I added a new book 2 years in, which was my third book, Until We're Meant to Be. That book was not supposed to be in the series lineup. And so it wasn't as linear as like my future series. But
Mm-hmm.
I think for the series, the first thing is just consistency, like making sure everything lines up, making sure that the characters are like obviously characters are gonna evolve with each book and different storylines, but still making sure
Yes.
characters are consistent, plot details are consistent, take note of like everything, make sure like have character profiles. You're gonna need it, especially when you're like 5 books in, because that's like one thing. And so one thing I really like struggle with was that things were inconsistent, because every time I would work on the new draft of a book, something would change, and then all the
Mm-hmm.
other books would now be outdated. So a common issue I like, a very big issue I have with my book Perfect Where We Are Now, which releases tomorrow, um,
Mm-hmm.
is that the first 3 books all were consistent because I edited them in 2024. And then the last book I wrote in 2024. I did not work on that book in 2024. So what happens is that all those books were consistent, but then Perfect Where We Are Now was outdated. And even still, like up until like right before release, I was still fighting outdated stuff, such as the main character Oliver calling Celeste by her real name Celeste because she goes by a stage name Celia. Because originally in the
Mm-hmm.
first draft, I was like, I'm gonna have her and her bandmates go by their real names. Because originally in Next Everything We Wanted, they started doing that. But then in Next Everything We Wanted, I changed it where they never revealed their real names to people.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and so because I made that change in then book 2, now the entirety of book 4 was inconsistent. And it took a long time to really make it consistent. So writing a series definitely is hard if you don't plan it ahead of time. If you don't expect it to ahead of time. So I planned that obviously though you can't expect everything to be linear. You can't expect like the process to be linear. And just so my best tip is just be as consistent as possible. Take notes. Have notes for each like have a bunch of like notes for each different book, and also have notes for the whole series. Make sure to read everything, character profiles. And it might not be like it is going to be harder if you didn't plan a series ahead of time, and things will change while you're working in the middle of the book that you didn't plan. You just have to really stay consistent. And just take
The
note that that's literally my biggest tip.
characters sometimes have a have their own way of
Yes,
forming the story, right? And you're like,
They
I didn't know
really
you were
do.
going to do that. I didn't know you were going to say that. And so that's the beauty of writing novels, is that you get to work with characters that um, take on their own lives within the story, and so that consistency in a series is absolutely necessary. And if you find, I find it as a writer that if I can't get that consistency, then I need to leave that story and start go work on another one until I can get it where I want it, um,
Yes.
as part of the process. So, how many books? You say you're dropping another book tomorrow. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes. It's my
Okay.
fourth.
Wow. So this will be book 5 in the series.
Oh no, book 4 is tomorrow.
Book 4. Okay,
Book
book 4
5
is
will
tomorrow.
be in the summer.
Okay, book 4 is tomorrow. Okay, so I pulled your. That's what happened. I pulled your cover for book 4. Okay, so um, you have an extensive catalog of books. I know this from previous conversations that you got completed stories and novels that are just waiting for you to add those last touches. How much more will we see of Lizzie Franklin's books in the next 2 years?
So this really depends on how life is turning out. I definitely have been like re-examining my career. I definitely like the ideal plan is to release books every free. I mean, to release books up to 3 to 4 times a year, because
Mm-hmm.
I personally, for me, that just like I have so many ideas where 1 to 2 books a year. I don't judge any authors who go at that pace. However, that is just not going to work for me if I want to have like the career that I want, and just like, even though like if like my career ends up looking differently than I thought it would, I still, the one thing I want to be consistent is having 3 to 4 books a year. People definitely think I'm crazy for it. A lot of people tell me I can't do it, and a lot of people were telling, like, I was supposed to release Perfect Where We Are Now last year. A lot of people were like happy that I didn't succeed. So I'm really hoping this year I can publish 4 books. I kind of have to, because the last book is a Christmas book, and you can't
Well, I'll
release a
tell you
Christmas
this.
book in
as
February.
an, as an author, you set your goals for yourself and you keep your vision before you. Don't be concerned about what other people are thinking concerning the release of the books. If you can get it done. Because
Exactly.
at the end, if you know that this is what you're supposed to be doing, this is your, one of the many plans for your life, right?
Yes.
um, then stick with it and let all the naysayers just watch those books keep dropping.
Yeah. And
Yep, just,
so,
just just keep them
to
coming.
fully answer, your question, like what's coming the next few years. So after Women Face the Music, I have 2 series planned that I'm 100% sure will be happening. One, I have started the first book of, and the female main character actually shows up in my net book that comes out tomorrow, Perfect Where We Are Now.
Hmm.
Uh, and so the first new series is going to be a sports romance series, and the other one's going
Hmm.
to be a different sports romance series, but they're 2 different sports. And
Hmm.
so I'm not revealing the sports yet, but there are sports that are like very popular in romance. And so the first series is 4 books, and the next series is 6 books. And I've never done a 6 book series. So I'm definitely really excited. And you can see the new series starting this fall,
Hmm.
hopefully. Just depending on the like how like I want to release things. It's not 100% set in stone, but I do know whatever happens, that's going to be the next thing I release.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. Um, as a young writer with a catalog, you've already got 2 series planned out there. And so there are some older writers who would love to be that far ahead in their book planning, right? In their book writing. What advice would you give young writers? What words of wisdom would you share with them about writing stories, about writing characters that are different from them, because the characters in your books are different from you? What
Yes.
advice would you give them?
My main advice is that I tell everyone is do research, research, practice and research. That's really the best thing that any writer can do. No matter like how old you are, but especially for young writers, definitely read books from people older than you, read books from people who are successful, even read books from people who like aren't as successful.
Mhm.
See like what people like, study trends, see like what people are enjoying the genre, what has been consistent in the genre that you're writing throughout the years. Obviously, keep writing more books. To be like fair, like I've written 16 books, and Before More Than Friends was the fourth book that I wrote, and Next Everything We Wanted was the 12th book I wrote. So
Mhm.
that's a very big gap of books that did not get published.
Mhm.
And so maybe not everything you write will get published. And that's one thing that I didn't expect going into it. And I didn't expect this many books to be like cut. Um, and so definitely just like definitely do research practice. That's really the best thing you can do. Writing's gonna feel hard at first. I remember writing my first book back
Mhm.
in 2020, and it took literally like 4 months because I would never draft a book that slow ever again. Edit, yes. Draft a book that slow, no. And I literally like had to force myself to write 300 words a day,
Mhm.
and literally like the best advice is I just had to keep practicing because the next book that I wrote it in 28 days,
Mhm.
which really and that's a really big jump, and that just really shows that I just need to keep practicing, which is why I wrote 6 books that year without editing anything. And of course, I went to edit the next year, and editing is still really hard. But I just had
Oh
to
yeah,
practice with books.
editing is that's the peacemaker, right? You
Yeah,
have to
that's
make
why.
peace with yourself when it's good to get the story out, but the editing part is where you have to start making peace with yourself.
That's
It
why
all
Before More
comes
Than Friends takes so long.
yes, yes. We're here with author Lizzie Franklin, and for the International Great Black Read Aloud Day, it is day 25, as we said before, and it is Young Adult Teen Day. And she is the author of a popular series. She's got great numbers on Amazon. We like those numbers, Elizabeth. We really do.
Thank
Um,
you.
we like those rankings. Um, and so she's going to read from us from her book, Before We're More Than Friends. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so I'll be reading the first chapter. This takes place 6 years ago before Dallas and Raina actually meet in real life. So I'll be reading their first pen pal letter and Dallas's reaction before everything takes place in high school. So this takes place when they're in 5th grade, but the book is young adult. Starting in chapter 3, it takes place during their junior year. Yeah, so this is chapter 1. This is what the first
Okay.
page looks like. Okay, chapter 1, Dallas, 6 years ago. Dear Alexander F., hi, I'm Chloe, and I'm going to be your pen pal, I guess. Honestly, I didn't even know that writing letters was still a thing people under the age of 60 did ever since email existed. My teacher said we have to exchange letters with a complete stranger back and forth until we're not complete strangers. If that's the case, I'll tell you about my lame self. Actually, maybe you won't think I'm so lame. Are you still awake to read this? Hello? I'll keep going. My real name actually isn't Chloe. That's my middle name. I'm not sure if the school told you or not, but I was told that you requested to go by your middle name instead of your first name for privacy reasons, which is insane given that we literally have to know each other's addresses for this. Oh, I wasn't calling you insane. You know what I mean, right? So I decided to go by my middle name too. Not because I think you're a creepy old man pretending to be an elementary school student, but because I wanted us to match. Friends like to match and stuff, right? My parents signed me up for this pen pal program because I don't have many friends. Yeah, it's sad. I bet you have a laundry list of friends. But either way, but either way, I still hope you don't think I'm lame, or even worse, annoying. I'm really excited to get to know you, whatever your first name is, Alexander, whatever the F stands for. My birthday is April 30th, so that makes me 10 years old as of January 12th when I'm writing this chaotic butt letter. I don't think the teachers would approve of me using my alternative for butt. I got in trouble for saying it in class. Well, the teachers read through our letters before we send them, but I'm sure this letter will come in the mail before I turn 11. I'm in 5th grade. School stinks outside of music and art class. Moving on, my favorite food is garlic bread. My mom makes it for us whenever she cooks. My grandpa gave her a cookbook with a bunch of Italian recipes. His family is from Italy, but she makes garlic breadsticks the most. It's the best thing ever. My least favorite food, hands down, is is hands down tuna. My dog barked up once and ruined it for me. She's so gross sometimes, but it's hard to stay mad at her. Oh, I should tell you about her. Her name is Penrose. Very fancy name for a German shepherd who acts anything but fancy. But I can't imagine what else we would have named her. Tammy? That sounds like a good dog name. Still doesn't fit. Penrose is my best friend and my favorite member of the family. But don't tell anyone I said that. She spends most of her time in my room, so I know I'm her favorite. I hate it when she chews up my jewelry and notebooks, though. But like I said, I could never stay mad at her. Not only am I obsessed with animals, but I love making jewelry. My number one dream is to have my own jewelry business. I don't know what I would call it yet, but I've been working hard since I made my first friendship bracelet. Bracelets are my favorite to make, but I also make necklaces and earrings. Would you want me to make you a bracelet? I have a lot of options to choose from. My mom is very supportive of my dream, but my dad would like me to have a more practical job like he and my mom do. He's a loaded real estate developer, and my mom works at a law firm. Screw what he thinks, even though he tries to make his opinion seem like the most important thing in the world. Like I said, I don't have many friends. My best friend is Isabel, my ride or die girl. She wants to open her own hair salon for women of all hair types, and I think our business would do awesome next to each other. She is the first person to try on my jewelry, and I always let her do my hair. She's literally the best, but I have no one to hang out with when she's busy. When my mom has a bunch of rich people friends she gathers with at the country club, sometimes she makes me hang out with her best friend's daughter, Gracelyn. She goes to a private school and is a talented dancer. She does ballet, contemporary, and jazz. Can you believe that? She's nice and all, but we don't have much in common. My sister is best friends with her, though. My sister, Ariel, is actually my identical twin, but I'm a minute older because she basically pushed me out of my mom when I wasn't ready, but we're not super close. People think we can read each other's minds, but we actually can't. They also mistake me for her because she's more popular than me. We don't even dress alike. I wear purple and she wears pinks and red. One of my favorite things is music. I cannot live without music. I'd be bored as heck making jewelry with nothing but the TV in the background. I also love reading and collecting notebooks. My bookshelves are completely full. I even had my dad buy me more, but we're running out of space for my room. And my room is huge, not to brag. I wonder if I can start storing stuff in the spare bedroom, which is also huge. Enough about me. Tell me about you. Make it long, make it short, whatever floats your boat. Just don't bore me. I hope that doesn't sound rude. People say I'm rude, but I'm not trying to be. But what other people say doesn't matter to us. Have a great day. And if you're not having a great day, I hope I cheered you up. Chloe V. A smile spread across my face as I looked down at the letter. No, I hadn't been having a bad day, but my new pen pal had already made it brighter. Boring? Yeah, right. I brushed my hand against her pretty handwriting. It was so neat, a blend between print and cursive. I imagined a girl my age with her head down, writing this letter slowly and carefully with a purple pen in her hand and a smile on her face, and my own smile widened. Looking back, I didn't know why I'd been so too scared to go by my first name. Maybe it was because everyone made fun of the fact I was named after the city I lived in. Or maybe it was the fact I'd been paranoid about who I'd be paired up with. For all I knew, it could have been someone who was obsessed with murder. You didn't have to be old to be out of your mind, right? As my hand brushed along the marks of the paper, the class around me bounced off the walls. Most of us had received our letters in the past few days, but were told to wait until the day, the 16th, to open them in class. Some people were excited about their new friends, some complained about the pest the system had paired them with, and the rest were indifferent. The ruckus going on here would make you think this was a preschool class. I turned to my best friend, Toby Atkinson, who was staring down his paper. Who did you get? This boy from somewhere in California? He shrugged. He's very into video games, which is cool, but it sounds like he has no social life. He just jumped right into the games he plays and only asked me what I play. I mean, sounds like every normal 10-year-old boy. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because we're far from normal. We really are. I looked back at my letter and grinned. Glad I got a super cool rich girl instead. Oh, he put his chin on his hands. Do tell. I squinted at the address that was on the glittery purple envelope. She's from someplace in Nevada. She loves animals and she wants to open a jewelry business. A girl your age who has big goals? Toby approved. I snorted. You say that like I'm going to date her or some crap. He shrugged. Hey, you never know. I shoved him, nearly knocking him into a girl who was using her phone from under the desk. Don't even start. I snuck a glance at my crush, Darla Stratton, from the other side of the classroom, my cheeks growing warm. You already know I'm spoken for, in your dreams. If a teacher hadn't been facing our direction, I would have flipped him off. Dreams come true. Toby rolled his eyes. What are you going to write back to her? He picked up his pencil. I'm going to tell Kobe everything great in life that doesn't involve video games. Wait, his name is Kobe? I snorted. Kobe and Toby? Don't even. He covered his snort with his hand. For all I know, he could have seen my name and decided to pick one that rhymes. I'm going to tell Chloe my favorite things. I tapped my pen on the table. Should I tell her my real name now that I know she's not anyone weird? We're both going by our middle names. Keep it that way for now. He leaned over my desk and looked at the letter. Go by Alex instead. It seems to fit you. Okay. Alex and Chloe, I smiled. Not bad. Way better than Dallas from Dallas, don't you think? This is the appropriate time to this is the appropriate time for you to shut up and tell Kobe that too many video games will fry his brain. Joking, joking. He spun his pencil around. I'll tell him you said hi. Tell Chloe I said hi too. I will. I grabbed a new sheet of paper and started writing with my green pen. No, I was the one hoping I didn't sound boring as heck. Toby was the only friend I'd had for longer than a few weeks for a reason. But other boys thought I wasn't cool enough, and the girls, at least the ones who were in my class, wanted nothing to do with guys unless it involved dating or kissing. As much as I love to dream about Darla, nobody found me as kissing or dating material. For now, once I got control of my black girl, stopped my pale face from flushing at the mirror contact with he, and got some meat on my lanky figure, I'd be good to go. Hey, at least I had dimples. Those were cute, right? When I finished, I showed Toby my letter. How does this sound? He narrowed his eyes at it. Looks great. He held up his letter. What do you think of this? Dear Kobe, hi, I'm Toby, and I'm here to tell you everything in life. Hi, I'm Toby, and I'm here to tell you about everything in life that is better than the lame video games you sit inside playing every free second of the day. If you keep living on video games and soda, you will for sure die. How are you supposed to finish your games and improve your gaming system if you're already dead? I didn't need to read anymore to say, yeah, do not send him that. You sound like one of those moms who believe video games are the devil. He threw up his hands. I thought you were with me on this. When school ended, I went home and grabbed a playing envelope for the office where my sister, Cammy, played some movie star game on her computer. She was searching through her avatar's closet when she raised an eyebrow at me. What are you doing with that? She asked. It's for my pen pal. I smiled, rising on the balls of my feet with excitement. I got to read my letter from her in class. You got a girl? Lucky. Her gaze traveled to her skin again. I got a guy last year. All he talked about was video games I never even heard about. Looked like she had the same problem as Toby. Maybe they should have paired you with a girl who's obsessed with corny dress up games instead. She rolled her eyes. The only corny thing is your music taste. At least I have taste. I playfully stuck my tongue at her. I scurried to my room and decorated the playing envelope with animal stickers for Chloe. After I finished, I went downstairs to wake my dad up from his nap on the couch. He signature way of recovering from an early morning of arrest. Hi, Dad. I tapped his shoulder. He let out a heavy snore, not moving. Sleepyhead, I muttered. Huh? Dad's lashes fluttered as his dark eyes opened. Later, can we go to the post office so I can send off this letter to my pen pal? Her name is Chloe, and she lives in Nevada. Oh, yeah, he yawned. When I was in high school, I had a guy pen pal. I usually brush off Dad's lame high school stories, like what he used to do and all the girls who rejected him, but I tuned in for this one. Really? Do you guys still talk today? We used to write a lot. He stretched his arm out. He stretched his arms and let out another yawn. He started with letters, then shifted to email, and we talked a lot during college. But then I got a new email address and moved into this house after I married your mother, and I forgot to tell him about it. Our friendship fizzled after that. You forgot about your pen pal? My eyes could have bulged at my skull. How could you? He smiled like he hadn't committed a loyalty crime. Just slipped my mind. We wanted me in real life, but our busy lives got in the way. That's sad. I rubbed the back of my neck. At least you had fun writing to him. I did. His eyes drifted off to his face before meeting mine again. You're excited about your new pen pal, are you? Yeah, she's amazing at not boring me, he laughed. I'm glad she is. If you're ready, we can visit the post office now. I clapped my hands together, jumping up and down. Now that I was home, the excitement was hitting me in full force. When we got in his car, and he drove over to the slot in the post office. He rolled down the window, and I leaned over and dropped that envelope into the slot. Happiness welled inside me as I imagined Chloe opening the envelope, not hesitating to write back and go through the same process. What was your favorite part about sending letters to your pen pal? I asked Dad as he drove out of the parking lot. My favorite part, he bit his lip. That's a tough one. But other than writing to him, I liked sending off the letter and playing the waiting game for when his next letter would come. I grinned as I thought about the next response I'd get in the mail. That might be my favorite part too. Checking the mailbox became a ritual. I knew it would take time for a letter to come in the mail, but the wait was unbearable. Why couldn't we use email instead? I had an email account, which my parents had no idea about I could have used. But the 5 day wait was worth it when I found a package with a purple envelope attached to it in the mailbox. Excitement coursed through me as I grabbed the package and ran up to my room, nearly tripping over Houston. I quickly unwrapped the package to see a bracelet with green and blue beads, a black star in the middle. Grinning, I slipped the bracelet on my wrist. It fit perfectly. A slip of paper stuck out in the package, and I took it out and read the note. I hope you think of me whenever you wear this. I will, I whispered to the bracelet, even though I knew Chloe couldn't hear me all the way from here. Houston popped up his head to give me a funny look before resting on the floor again. I read Chloe's letter before deciding I wanted to do something kind back. I searched my room for something I could make for her. Nothing. I had a few colored pencils to draw with, but the best I could do with those was give her a page from a coloring book. Outside of that, I didn't have an artistic bone in my body. That afternoon, I asked my parents to order me a bracelet kit. I found one online that had the same black star Chloe had put in my bracelet. It took me several tries to get the bracelet right, but I ended up with a duplicate of my own, only with purple beads instead of blue ones. Smiling, I wrote a note to put in the envelope with the bracelet. I hope you think of me whenever you wear this, like I'll always think of you when I wear mine. That's the end of the chapter.
Very nice. Thank you for reading from. Hold your cover up. We'll put the other covers up, but I like to hold books in my hand, so
Yes.
I like to see the cover. So
Yes.
here is Before We're More Than Friends by author Lizzie Franklin. It is book one in the When We Face the Music series. Want to put your books up because we always like to show our authors books. So when our listeners are out and about, they know what they can look for. And so we're going to put up your books here. And
Oh,
these are books by author Lizzie Franklin. You can find them on Amazon. You can order them as well. And this is the When We Face the Music series with a new book dropping tomorrow. And I'm telling you, I am so impressed and invigorated to get books done and get them out.
thank you
We're
so
so
much.
glad to have you here with us, Miss Franklin. And this is author Lizzie Franklin. When We Face the Music, she is the author of this about to be 4 book series in 1 year. Listen, people, one
Yes.
year she has dropped 4 books. I'm amazed. I'm in awe. Well, we are so happy that you have joined us today on the International Great Black Read Aloud Day 2026 version. And we will see you tomorrow for day 26. Our voices held out all month. We still got to give our thriller read, which was day 12. We're going to do that before the 28th. I promise you. Thank you, Lizzie, for being here with us today.
Thank you.
And we look forward to talking with you again later in the year when the new series comes out. We'll set up some time
Yes.
so that we can chat again and just enjoy your success. And,
Thank you so much.
it takes work to write a book and to keep writing and to keep writing and to keep writing and do great cover work, by the way. The
Yeah.
covers are fantastic for the series.
Thank
So
you.
we're excited about it. So we will see you next time. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Here at the International Great Black Read Aloud Day, or TIGBRAD as we call it, we are giving voice to words written by Black people around the world. We read for educational purposes, encouraging the exploration, purchase, and reading of books written by Black people. We look forward to sharing more written words with you.